So now we have on the books 2 American journalists beheaded by this group. Is there any doubt on your part or the part of this administration that in fact the United States is at war with ISIS?
Are we at war with ISIS? Simple question from James Rosen. Interesting response from the State Department. Fox News' chief Washington correspondent James Rosen here with more now. James?
Yeah, Megan, at the State Department, they wouldn't say so. This is a group, ISIS, that is beheading American citizens. The Defense Department is conducting daily airstrikes against them in Iraq, and the Commander-in-Chief has formally reported to the Congress about those airstrikes under the terms of the War Powers Act. Yet in my exchanges with State Department spokesperson Jen Psaki at today's daily briefing, she repeatedly declined to embrace that term, at war. A lot of Americans sit at home and they see Americans who are not even combatants but who are journalists being beheaded by this group overseas. And from a sort of common sense point of view, the average American will say to himself, this group is at war with us. Why does our president or our Secretary of State not recognize that and say, indeed, we are at war with this group and we will destroy them?
Well, I think, first of all, James, our actions speak for our commitment to this. And the president has authorized more than 100 strikes in Iraq, as has been confirmed by the Department of Defense. So I think any American sitting at home should sit and look at the actions that we're taking. I don't think it's a useful exercise to go back and forth about new terms. What's important is what we're doing about it, and the President's authorization, what the Secretary will be doing over the next couple of weeks is action in that regard.
I also asked Ms. Psaki if the President expects to complete this mission of defeating ISIS before he leaves office. She said she wouldn't put a deadline or a time frame on it, Megan.
James Rosen, thank you. Here with more, Andy McCarthy, former federal prosecutor and contributing editor to the National Review. Andy, so why won't they say flat out that we are at war with ISIS? Because Josh Earnest, White House spokesperson, also explicitly said last week, no, we are not.
I think they have philosophical, political, and legal problems, frankly, with doing that, given the positions that they've taken. Remember, during the Libya war, where we not only bombed the governing regime, we toppled it, and thousands of people were killed, the administration wouldn't admit it was a war. They said it was a kinetic military action.
Kinetic. Right. But what is it? Because the president, when he was running for office, said, I'm going to make clear that we are not at war with Islam. But he seemed to acknowledge we are at war with terrorists who kill us, but we're not at war with Islam. Aren't ISIS, isn't that a group of terrorists who kill us? Why can't he just say that again?
I don't think he ever acknowledged that we were at war with terrorists.
He did. I have it on tape. Let's play it.
I will make clear that we are not at war with Islam. America is at war with the terrorists who killed people on our soil. We're not at war with Islam.
Well, it was 19 people killed people on our soil, and I don't mean to be flip about it. You're quite right. He obviously said that, but his whole administration has been about miniaturizing the problem when, in fact, what we're at war with is not even ISIS. It's a much broader movement than ISIS or Al-Qaeda. It's Islamic supremacism in which you have an intellectual backbone in the Muslim Brotherhood, you have jihadist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and you also have state sponsors of terrorism. And you can't make a strategy that will ever work unless you take all 3 of those components into account.
Does he believe that if we make nice with these people, that if we withdraw as a superpower, if we hands down, heads down, eyes down, with respect to our foreign policy, they will leave us alone?
I do think that he believes, and the people who are his people believe, that
left?
that there's a downside to anything that we do aggressively in our national security, that we make problems worse by pursuing
A lot of
American
people believe
interests.
that.
Right. Well, a lot of people are wrong. I mean, you could...
Have we had 6 years of not trying that, and where has it gotten us?
Well, obviously the threat is much worse, and the threat is far worse today than it was right before 9/11, because if you think about it, what do they need to attack America? They need safe haven, they need weapons and resources, they need state sponsorship, and they need lax immigration enforcement. And what they have on every one of those scores is a far better, more favorable field for ISIS now than was for Al-Qaeda in 1998.
Is this presidency then in a way disproving a core belief that many in this country have held, which is isolationism or non-interventionalism is the way to keep us safe?
I think it's complicated, but yes, largely yes. But I've never believed that the American people are against taking aggressive action to protect the United States. What the American people have disfavored is these ambitious projects to try to,
building.
or Sharia democracy building, which is just, whether that can even happen is an experiment. If you tell the American people this is what we need to do to protect the United States, they're all in. If you tell them we have to then move into another country and stay for 10 or 12 years and spend $1 trillion on an experiment in whether democracy can work under a Sharia framework, nobody's in. I'm not in for that.
Andy McCarthy, good to see you.
Thanks, Megan.